Greetings everyone, my name is Cedric Chuuma for Financial Insight Zambia, just a few days away from COP28 being held in Dubai, and right now I am joined by Chief Executive of Stanbic Banks Zambia, Mwindwa Siakalima. Mwindwa, how are you doing?
I'm very good. How are you doing?
I'm good, glad to have you.
Thank you very much.
Yes, so Stanbic Banks Zambia is part of the Standard Bank Group, and the Standard Bank Group has committed to driving Africa's growth in an inclusive and sustainable manner, supporting a just energy transition. Now, how has Stanbic Zambia translated this climate strategy?
So thank you very much for that question, and I'm happy that you've started off from a group perspective. And yes, indeed, Stanbic Banks Zambia is part of the Standard Bank Group, and one of the key things that we're looking at is the energy transition. Just to start off with what the group has done, and there's a lot of work that has gone into the sustainability drive, and around that, I think is ensuring that we've structured financing solutions, sustainable financing solutions across Africa, and in there we've got solutions that have aligned with the principles around the green financing, green loans, green bonds, as well as social bond principles. So lots of things that are aligned with sustainability from a financing perspective. And just to give you a few, we also have in the financial year ended 2022 have raised funds that amounted to over $2 billion US dollars from a Standard Bank Group perspective. That's at the group level. In 2023, this year at half year, we have raised as a group about 1.5 billion. So quite big amounts in terms of the support in terms of sustainable financing. Coming to the Zambia side of things, as Stanbic Bank Zambia, what we've done is adopting what the group has done has been an important step for us, but it's basically also ensuring that we are aligned with what the country is doing. So the establishment of the Ministry of Green Economy and Environment has been a key part of what we are also doing, and also supporting that by participating in some of the big discussions that are happening around sustainability. So we attended COP27 as Stanbic, and we are also attending COP28. I think the key issues around those is basically to be part of the conversation as things are unfolding, but also to make sure that the things that we're doing on the ground that are helping the establishment deepening understanding of what's happening around climate change locally, but also ensuring that we are prepared as a financial institution to be able to be more or less front runners in the discussion, together with other institutions obviously, but front runners in ensuring that we are able to fund projects that require green financing, but also I think be able to navigate what's happening around carbon credits. So it's important that we are part of the discussion, part of the discussions around policy formulation, because we are happy with how the Ministry of Green Economy and Environment has opened up their doors to get as many ideas as they can from a number of institutions. So that's really where we are from a Stanbic Bank perspective.
Stanbic Banks Zambia have also had a lot of milestones this year. Among them have been initiatives that resonate with the COP28. Are you able to tell our viewers what are some of those key initiatives that you believe align with the agenda of COP28?
Yes. So we can give you a number of examples, but top of those examples is one key initiative that Stanbic Bank Zambia is looking at that is aligned with the COP28. The big one is the Let's Secure the Zambezi. It's an initiative that we've started now. I think it's going into 2 years now, where we are doing reforestation of the source of the Zambezi River. So the Zambezi River is one of the biggest rivers in Africa, and from a Zambia perspective, provides a number of sectors with support. So we can talk about tourism. When we talk about the Victoria Falls, that falls starts from somewhere, and it starts in Ikele, in the northwest of Zambia. Tourism is key, and it's actually dependent for most of Zambia, dependent on that river and where it passes, in terms of things like national parks and what happens around those game management areas that river supports. The second one that we can talk to in terms of support from a sector perspective is hydro power. So most of the hydropower stations are dotted around that, or get water from that source in terms of the Zambezi River source. We're talking about agriculture. In terms of livelihoods, there's a lot of support that comes out of the water development, dams and things like that are supported out of the Zambezi River. A number of things are actually linked to the Zambezi River. So working with partners such as WWF, GIZ, the Ministry of Water Development, the local community, by the way, in Northwestern Province, plus the local provincial ministry, the Northwestern, were able to then bring about knowledge around making sure that there's reforestation, but also reduce the cutting of trees, and just make sure that there's that reforestation that happens naturally, but also planting of trees is another key thing that we do. And this is all linked to what's happening from a COP28 perspective. That's one of the key things that we're looking at in terms of actual work on the ground from a Stanbic perspective.
That's very interesting. And when it comes to achieving sustainable growth in the green era, how is the bank positioning itself, and are you able to give us some practical examples of how the bank has gone about positioning itself?
And it's a very good question that you ask. Remember, earlier what I mentioned is in terms of positioning ourselves in this green era, is we deal with individuals, we then deal with SMEs, if you like, also traders, and then these SMEs become commercial in terms of size, and then you deal with the multinationals. So what we've done is, from an ESG perspective, and how we then review some of the lending that we do, is there's a key component of ESG that is included in the non-SME and non-retail applications. So it's a very good place to start, to say we are basically looking at how we then interact with our customers to make sure that ESG agenda is a key part of what we do on a regular basis with our clients. So it's a very key component that comes out of a practical example of how we then are tackling matters of ESG as Stanbic. So non-ESG finance, non-SME financing is actually has a component of ESG in terms of reviews.
That's actually quite innovative. And at COP28 in Dubai, there will be several key and high-level engagements. What will be the key message and signal from the bank, and what do you hope will be a satisfactory outcome for you and the bank's participation in this year's event?
So what we then got out of COP27 was that there was an establishment and some very good steps made by the participants of the COP, including COP27, by including government of the Republic of Zambia. I think we've seen there's lots of discussion around loss and damage funds and setting up that fund. With that, what we're saying is, how do we then get actualization and operationalization of that fund as part of COP28. I think we've had visitors. I think it's the EU that came through to come and sign some documents around how do we then get to the next level of accessing some of those funds. So it's an important follow through COP28 to COP27 to make sure that what was agreed by the different parties in COP28 is actualized. The other thing for us is to eventually ensure that there's deepening of knowledge around decarbonization, the discussion around how do we then make sure that we also get carbon credits from a Zambia perspective, and how do we then drive that as a financial institution by being available to do knowledge sharing, together with entities like the ministry itself, but also other entities that are part of the COP. So making sure that we are available and make ourselves available to other entities that are of a like mind to ensure that we drive that agenda from a Zambia perspective within this community, but also bring in that international knowledge that would be not available from a Zambia perspective. But there are countries that are a little bit ahead of us, but how we then get closer and make sure that we are making strides in the right direction. I think the issue that we're all trying to address is the warming up of the earth. So how do we then look at that 1.5 degrees Celsius going up, and how do we play a big part as Zambia in doing the right things to ensure that is actualized.
Thank you so much for that. It's been a pleasure having you.
Thank you very much.
And looking forward to seeing you at COP28.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Cedric Chuuma for Financial Insight Zambia. Get to know.